The unibody 2012 MacBook Pro was the final Apple laptop released with upgradable RAM. It was also the last with two SATA bays inside, last with an anti-glare screen, and, of course, last of the unibody models. It makes sense then that this model was supported with the latest macOS releases for 7 years up to Catalina, dropped in 2019. Alongside many 2012 users, I've kept using mine for years longer than Apple expected. Today's a sad day though. I finally decided to sell the machine. Let's take another look at what it offers in 2024. First off, battery life. If you buy a laptop, you more than likely want to carry it with you when you work either on the go or at different places each day. The 2012 unibody released with pretty poor battery life, let me make that clear. At the time of its release, you'd expect to get up to 7 hours of battery life, and that was just browsing the internet. These days, an M1 MacBook Pro can afford you up to 17 hours of battery power doing the same tasks, not to mention it'll do those tasks often 3 to 4 times faster. 7 hours is enough for some though. If your Unibody Pro isn't giving you that much time, you should consider replacing your battery. You can expect to pay around £25 or $35 for a new battery, and that'll keep you going for the foreseeable future if you want to use the Mac for longer. Unfortunately, battery life isn't the only thing that my 2012 is missing these days. On paper, a quad-core i7 with a max clock speed of 3.6 GHz doesn't look too shabby. macOS is not a difficult OS for low-power machines to run, but this spec just doesn't get the job done when it comes to editing videos for my YouTube channel. The reason 2012 MacBook Pros got away with performing so well against newer laptops throughout the 2010s is absolutely down to a lack of innovation from Intel. MacBooks 2011 through 2017 came with quad-core i7s on the bigger and faster models. The 2011's max clock speed was 3.6 GHz, the 2017's 4.1. From roughly 2010 until 2018, Intel were on top of the pile when it came to making processors. Their Core i3, i5, i7, and later i9 chips dominated the market when compared to competition from AMD, as these charts show. As there was such little competition from AMD and others, Intel essentially sat on their lead during this time. Ryzen dropping in 2017 from AMD forced Intel to up their game, leading to Apple taking on 6 and 8 core processors in their 2018 and 19 MacBook Pros. This was an upgrade, of course. It's fair to say though that the big major change in Apple's laptops came in 2020, when Apple developed M1, the first of their own processors. I've been over this many times on my channel, but let's not forget, M1 beats the 2012 Pro's single and multi-core CPU benchmark scores by over 3 times in Geekbench 6. The Apple Silicon era is one that marches relentlessly forwards, and much as I hate to say it, we will all own one of these within the next 5 years. I can almost guarantee you. So processors are a shaky area for the 2012s at this point. But how are the graphics? Well, pretty damn good actually. The dedicated NVIDIA GT650M processors included have a gigabyte of GDDR5 graphics memory, with only 500 megabytes on the 2.3 models, by the way. This GPU goes a long way to processing some pretty recent games. I was able to play GTA 5 at medium settings, as well as run things like Minecraft and modern versions of Fortnite just fine. If you're looking to buy an older Intel MacBook for its graphics performance right now, I can honestly say you're not getting the world's worst deal with this. The 2015 may offer better value for money at this point, but we'll go over that later. NVIDIA and Apple had something of a falling out a couple of years later, so the last NVIDIA GPU on any MacBook came in 2014. Oh, one more point about the GT650M in this machine. It runs hot. I mean, super hot. Don't even think about putting this on your lap while rendering 3D imagery in games or design software. The i7 CPU is much the same story, sadly, which means almost constant fan noise once you're doing something that involves having multiple apps open or playing a game. Pair this heat issue with a seriously bulky frame compared to laptops from 2013 onwards, thanks to the unibody design, and there's the problem. I'm just not getting enough performance from my 12-year-old laptop. The one thing I'm sacrificing by selling this old machine is upgradeability. Thankfully, my 2010 Mac Pro, which will be sticking around in my place for years to come, is about as upgradable as they come. Having a laptop with 2 spaces for storage drives, upgradable RAM, and an option to replace the default screen with an anti-glare one is excellent though. There's a reason why this laptop is my favourite of all time. Unfortunately for all of us as consumers, Apple as well as most other computer companies have moved on to designs with far less room for user upgrades. This nets them more profit in the long run, with users forced to simply buy the next big release with everything soldered into the motherboard. My next laptop will probably not last as long as a result, and neither will yours. I should say, if you don't move around a lot and don't particularly need a laptop to work on, I'd highly recommend you build a custom PC. Their value for money proposition is unbeatable, and you'll find yourself upgrading it for the next decade or so slowly without the need to buy a new computer. That's if you don't mind running Windows only, that is. It's not the shiny new Mac route that policies of consumerism have in some ways brainwashed us all to seek, but it's better for the planet in the long run and really takes a stand against companies like Apple taking away our abilities to repair the tech we buy from them. So, should you buy a 2012 MacBook Pro in 2024? Well, off the bat, I'm going to say probably not. These sell for about £200 or $250 these days. Considering the price of a 2015 MacBook Pro with better performance and a far thinner design, not to mention that lovely Retina screen, is barely $50 to $100 more at this point, it seems like a no-brainer to go for one of those. At this point, there is a third contender though. I managed to get an M1 MacBook Air for a hair above £400 last week. We all know the M1's performance is well above that of the 2012 and 15 machines, so take this into consideration when buying a laptop. If you can take having a smaller screen and need the extra power for editing multiple timelines in video software, or something equally demanding, I'd seriously suggest going with the M1. Otherwise, your best value options are clear. The 2012 offers great upgradeability with a serious lack of power these days. 2015 has everything a modern laptop should have, except its Intel processor is beginning to age like the 2012's has. Both are on the cheaper side nowadays though. When it comes to OS support, neither the 2012 or 2015 has support past Monterey, aka macOS 12. Sonoma can be patched onto both of these machines though, using the OpenCore Legacy patcher. Many of us fear Sonoma is as far as any Intel Mac will ever be able to go, patched or otherwise. I guess what I'm saying is, don't get too worried about software support when comparing these older Intel machines. They're all about the same in the long run. I've said it before and I'll say it again, if you can save up that extra bit of cash for an M1 MacBook Air, that's a machine that should last you 5 to 10 years if you buy one today. Alright, thanks a lot for watching, as always. If you want to contribute directly to the channel, my Patreon is linked in the description. I'm getting into a good routine of uploading a video every week now, and I'm putting a lot more effort in since my exams are over for the season. Anyway, I'll see you all in the next one.